Hello, my dear children. The topic of the day is projectile motion. Before we proceed ahead with the detailed study of the projectile motion, let us know what are projectiles. Projectiles are any engineless object thrown in gravity or moving in gravity, like stones thrown in gravity in any direction are projectiles. Balls, all type of balls, when thrown in gravity, they are what? Projectiles. Children play with chalk. But what are these chalks? Projectiles. Bombs. Well, they are projectiles. Well, those bombs which are guided, laser guided bombs or laser guided missiles, they are not projectiles. Aeroplanes are not projectiles because they move on account of an engine, inbuilt engine. Birds are not projectiles. Why? Because they fly in air on account of their internal energy. So they flap their wings by virtue of their internal energy. They are not projectiles. Yeah, when the bird stops flapping its wing, it is converted into projectile. And if the engine of an aeroplane stops working, it becomes a projectile. So what are projectiles? I hope it is clear to all of you. Well, projectile motion is motion in gravity. And with regard to motion in gravity, we must know that time of rise is always same as time of fall. If an object is moving in gravity, whatever time it takes to move up to certain point, the same time it will take to come back to the starting point. The time of rise is same as time of fall. If the object is thrown in gravity, it moves up and then it comes back. So the time taken to move up is this is time of rise. Time taken to move from here to here is time of rise, and time taken to move from here to here is what? Time of fall. This time of rise is always same as time of fall. The second fact with regard to motion in gravity is speed. Speed of an object is a constant at a given level in gravity. Like if we throw a stone or any object, it moves up and comes down. So if at this level in the gravity, it has speed, say 100 meters per second. Therefore, when it comes back to the same level again, its speed would again be 100 meters per second. If at this level while going, the speed is what? 80 meters per second. So when it comes back to the same level, the speed would again be 80. If at this level the speed is what? Say 40, then at the same level the speed would again be 40. So for any object moving in gravity, at same level in gravity, the speeds of the objects have same values. That is what we say, the speed is constant at the given level in gravity. And the third and the very simple point is, motion in gravity is independent of the mass of the object. The way this pen is going to move in gravity, with the same way, a big block of the mass is also going to move in gravity. So motion in gravity is independent of mass. There is a hidden condition here which is not mentioned. That hidden condition is what? All these results hold true as long there is no force of opposition acting over object due to air. So the force of opposition due to air should be negligible or should be what? Zero. There should be no opposition due to air. It is taken for granted. If the force of opposition is there, significant, finite, then these results would not hold true. Well, projectile motion is motion in two dimensions. How is this projectile motion in two dimensions? Well, if we throw an object at certain angle from horizontal, like this, then what happens? This object moves like this and lands somewhere here. Now if we look at the shade of the object is moving on this kind of path and it falls at certain place, say here on the ground. If we look at the shade of the object over this wall, which is vertical, this is vertical, or say this is wall. So as this object is moving, let us assume that the light is falling. Light is falling horizontally over this wall. So what will happen? If we look at the shade of the object, what do we see? We see that as the object moves like this, if we look at the shade of the object along y-axis over this wall, what do we see? We see that the object moves up, 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 and as the object reaches here, the shade of the object comes to rest. The object moves up, up, and it comes to rest. So the shade of the object moves right from here to here as the projectile moves from here to here, and when the projectile moves in the second half of the motion, what do we see? We see that the projectile starts moving backward. We see the projectile starts moving backward. So the shade moves up to the highest point, it comes to rest, and then the shade starts moving. That is the motion of shade along y-axis. And let us assume that the sun is overhead and the light is falling like this. And if the light is falling along vertical, and if we look at the shade would look like what? The shade would move along x-axis. We would see that the shade moves along x-axis uniformly. So what is happening? The object is moving not only along x-axis, it is also moving along y-axis simultaneously. As the object moves from here to here, it moves this much distance along x-axis and this much distance along y-axis, and both the distances are covered simultaneously. So motion along x-axis and y-axis take place simultaneously. That is why the motion is what? Motion in 2 dimension. Projectile motion is in motion 2 dimension. Well, if we throw an object with velocity u, this velocity has 2 components. One component is along x-axis, and that is going to be what? That is going to be u cos theta. And the other component of the velocity is along y-axis. And what is that? That is uy, and that is equal to u sin theta. So if we throw an object with velocity u at an angle theta from horizontal, its effective value of velocity along x-axis is u cos theta, and its velocity along y-axis, the initial velocity along y-axis is u sin theta. And we all know that projectile motion is motion in gravity, and everywhere this acceleration due to gravity exists in vertically downward direction. Well, since there is acceleration along y-axis, therefore motion along y-axis is what? Y-axis means vertical axis. The motion along y-axis is what? Non-uniform motion. Along y-axis we have acceleration, and that acceleration is equal to what? G, say minus g. Why minus g? Because the velocity is along positive y-axis, initial velocity, and acceleration is against that. So acceleration is g, and by virtue of this acceleration g present along y-axis, the motion is non-uniform. And since the motion is non-uniform, well, we'll use all 3 equations of motions which we have deduced in the previous lecture. Well, the initial velocity along y-axis is u sin theta, and this velocity does not remain constant. It decreases and becomes 0 at certain point. And thereafter, when the projectile starts moving towards the ground, the same velocity starts increasing at the same rate, that is g. So this initial velocity along y-axis is u sin theta, acceleration is what? Minus g. Well, we use all 3 equations of motion for studying the motion along y-axis. The 3 equations are what? V square is equal to u square plus 2a. This is equation number 3. The second equation is what? S is equal to ut plus half at square. These are 3 equations for non-uniform motion. V is equal to u plus at. So along y-axis we use all these 3 equations depending upon the utility. As far as motion along x-axis is concerned, yes, very important. Along x-axis there is no acceleration. Since there is no acceleration along x-axis, therefore the motion is what? Uniform. And we know that for uniform motion we have just one equation of motion, and what is that? That is nothing but velocity. Velocity is equal to displacement upon time or distance upon time. So velocity is distance upon time. You can write it as s or x. Velocity ux, which is what? U cos theta, remains constant. So we study motion along both the axes separately. One physical quantity which is common to both the motion is what? Time. So time is the common physical quantity for motion along x-axis as well as y-axis. This time is common to the motion along x-axis as well as y-axis, because both the motions take place simultaneously. So if we know only this much of information, we can work out each and every numerical of projectile motion. Motion in two dimensions, we study both the motions separately and we club both the motions if required by the common physical quantity which is called time. Children, now we are going to work out the expression for trajectory, the path the projectile is moving along. So what is the path of projectile? The path of the projectile is called as trajectory. The trajectory is locus of the points a projectile moves along. And to find out that locus, see, this is vertical axis, this is horizontal axis. We throw a projectile with velocity u, it moves like this and lands somewhere. Let us say this is an arbitrary point P whose position coordinates are x and y, and time taken by the projectile to reach this point P is what? T. The starting point is taken as what? Origin. This is your y-axis, vertical axis. This is your x-axis. What is velocity along x-axis? Along x-axis we have just understood the velocity is what? Velocity is u cos theta. And by the time it reaches point P, the time goes past is what? T, and the displacement along x-axis is what? The displacement along x-axis is what? X. Since there is no acceleration, therefore the motion is going to be what? Uniform. And for uniform motion, we have just one equation of motion. What is that? Velocity is equal to displacement upon time. What is displacement? Displacement is, velocity is u cos theta, displacement is x, and the time is what? T. This simply means that the value of time is going to be x upon u cos theta. This is time t as the projectile moves from here to here. Well, if we study motion along y-axis, motion starts with initial velocity u sin theta. There is acceleration due to gravity, and that is what? That is minus g. By the time projectile reaches this point P, the time which goes past is what? T. And the displacement made is what? Y. As the projectile reaches this point P, the displacement made is what? Y. Initial velocity we know is what? U sin theta. So if we use all these quantities and substitute in the relation, S is equal to ut plus half at square. So what is S? S is going to be Y. Initial velocity is going to be what? U sin theta into time t minus 1 upon 2 gt square. For A we write what? Minus g. And if we substitute the value of time, which is same for both the motion, we have already found out the value of time in term of x. We are finding out locus, so we have to find out the relationship between x and y. For that we have to eliminate time. So we have found out time of motion from here to here, t as x upon u cos theta. Let us substitute this time t here. If we substitute the value of time t here, what do we get y as? We get y as u sin theta into t. T is what? T is x upon u cos theta minus 1 upon 2 gt square. Gt, t is what? T is x upon u cos theta whole square. And if we simplify it, what do we get? We get y as x. This u cancels out. Sin upon cos is what? Tan theta. And then we get minus 1 upon 2 g x square upon u square cos square theta. This is expression for trajectory. This is expression for trajectory of projectile. Trajectory of projectile. And you can see here, this power is 1, this power is 2. So what is y? Y is a second order. Y is second order function of x. That means it is what? Quadratic. That is nothing but quadratic equation. And every quadratic equation represents what? Parabola. Therefore, trajectory of projectile. Trajectory of projectile is parabolic. This workout is very, very important, and this is asked in your school exam. So children, let us find out the time of flight of projectile. Time of flight of projectile is the time for which the projectile remains in air. So how we are going to work out this time of flight? See, this is projectile thrown with velocity u at an angle theta from the horizontal. It moves like this and lands somewhere here. Well, the initial velocity along y-axis is u sine theta. And by the time projectile reaches the highest point, what happens to the final velocity along y-axis? The velocity along y-axis becomes 0. So by the time projectile reaches the highest point, its velocity becomes 0. When its velocity becomes 0, well, the time taken for this half of the motion is what? Time of rise. So what is time of rise? Well, for motion along y-axis, we know initial velocity is u sine theta. And by the time projectile reaches the highest point, the final velocity becomes 0. What is acceleration? Acceleration is equal to minus g. What is time taken? Time taken is going to be time of rise. And if we use all these values in the equation, v is equal to u plus at. So what is this v? V is 0. And what is u? U is going to be u sine theta. And what is a? Minus g. And t is what? Time of rise. This simply means u sine theta is going to be equal to g into tr. That means tr, the time of rise, is going to be u sine theta upon g. Since time of rise is same as time of fall, we have already understood. Therefore, the time of flight is going to be twice the time of rise. That means time of flight is going to be 2u sine theta upon g. There is another very interesting method to find out the time of flight. We have just found out while studying trajectory that y is u sine theta t minus 1 upon 2 gt square. When we substitute y is equal to 0, there are two roots, there are two values of time. One value of time is of course going to be what? 0, but other value of time is going to be what? Yeah, the time of flight. When projectile moves from here to here, so as the projectile lands here, what happens to displacement along y-axis? It becomes what? 0. So displacement of along y-axis is 0 at two instances. One is right here and one when it lands here. So if in this expression of displacement along y-axis, we write y is equal to 0, there are two roots we are going to get. One root is going to represent the position of projectile when it is here, and other root, other value of time, which represents the time when it reaches here. So if we substitute 0, what do we get? You can see t is taken as common, u sine theta minus 1 upon 2 gt. This simply means either t is equal to 0 or this is equal to 0. T cannot be 0. T0 means the object is right here. Well, when we take u sine theta minus 1 upon 2 g into t as 0, we get the time as what? 2u sine theta upon g. This is the time of flight. Another way, height h of projectile, height of projectile is the maximum distance projectile moves along y-axis. As usual, initial velocity along y-axis is what? Initial velocity along y-axis is u sine theta. As the projectile reaches the highest point, its final velocity becomes 0. Acceleration is what? Minus g. What is displacement? Displacement is, say, h. This h is what is the height of the projectile. So we are going to use the formula v square is equal to u square plus 2as, and if we use this relation, what is this final velocity? 0. What is u square? U sine theta whole square minus 2g into h. What is h? This h comes out to be u square sine square theta upon 2g. This is the height of projectile. And now let us work out range of projectile. That is the final result we are going to work out today. Range is the distance traveled by the projectile along ground. If the projectile is launched from here, it lands here. This is the velocity u it is thrown with at an angle theta. When it lands here, well, the distance from the point of projection till this point is what is range. So what is this range? Velocity along x-axis is as usual u cos theta. So since range is distance along x-axis, we are going to work out the equation of motion along x-axis to find out r. So what is this velocity along x-axis? U cos theta. By the time projectile reaches this point, the time is what? T, and that is 2u sine theta upon g. So what is this distance covered? Distance covered is going to be velocity into time, and this distance is what is range. So what is range? Range is ux into t. Ux is what? U cos theta, and t is what? 2u sine theta by g. We can write it as r is equal to u square sine of 2 theta upon g. Why? It is simply because sine of 2 theta is equal to 2 sine theta cos theta. Sine of 2 theta is 2 sine theta cos theta. So for 2 sine theta cos theta, we write what? Sine 2 theta. And you can very clearly see this r is maximum. R is maximum when? R is going to be maximum when sine of 2 theta is going to be maximum, and maximum value of sine 2 theta is what? Plus 1. And that is possible only when 2 theta is equal to what? 90. This implies that theta is going to be 45 degree. This means if we throw a projectile at an angle 45 degree from the point of projection, then projectile is going to fall farthest, and the maximum value of range is going to be what? U square by g. This is the maximum value of range when theta is equal to what? 90 degree. So this is range. So children, with this we come to the end of today's class. We'll continue beyond this point with more articles and derivations and results on projectile motion. So for the time being, this is all. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.